Welcome to Uplift, inspiring stories to uplift the world. This show is a podcast, a videocast that transcends cultures and borders to bring you the most heartwarming, uplifting, and inspiring stories from around the globe. In a world where negativity can sometimes feel all encompassing, it's crucial to be reminded of the incredible capacity for goodness in humanity. Each week, we will share a new story of resilience, courage, and triumph from a guest. These stories will leave you feeling inspired and uplifted as you witness the extraordinary things people are capable of achieving. Today, coming from Lithuania, we have Agne Veckyte. She is an intuitive coach, a healer, a business intuitive. Her passion is helping women discover their connection to their soul's gift, passion, and purpose, and helping them clear the subconscious blocks stopping them from going from passion to action. The biggest enemy Agne had to befriend while discovering her powerful intuitive gifts and a true calling as a healer and a teacher was unworthiness, lack of self belief, and a long journey into self acceptance. One of her sayings is to say, in more than 10 years of working with clients, this is what I see. Show people their darker sides and they will embrace it, but show them their light and soul's gifts and they will deny it faster than you can blink. Okay. Some of the powerful tools in Agnes toolkit are Akashic record reading, theta healing, soul collage, and radical forgiveness coaching. And at the moment, she is also channeling a new modality. We will come back on that one later, so stay tuned. Welcome, Agne. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me here today. Hi.
So, we read a little bit of your bio with some elements. Can you please place a little bit the blocks of your life so that we can have an overview and have a better understanding of who you are?
Yeah, okay. So my bio is kind of like the point where I am now, but it wasn't like that always. So let me give you kind of like, yeah, blocks, I think, of my life, because this would be a very long story otherwise. um, so I think I need to say a few sentences about my childhood. I was fascinated as a child, a young teenager, with human behavior and the question of why people do that, why people behave a certain way. And I was also a kid who secretly or not so secretly believed in the magic world of the unseen things. So I also very luckily grew up in a family that was very open to intuition, to intuitive insights, and just developing an intuition. My mom has a huge intuition and she has prophetic dreams, which she absolutely hates. to say that, she hates it with a passion because it just makes it very hard for her to interpret them, I think. So that's sort of the setting of where I'm growing up. Also, he kind of like expanding the location. Lithuania gained independence in 1990 from Soviet Union, so this is not a very open space for being a coach, a healer. Back then when I was growing up. Now it is, but back then it wasn't. So that's the setting. I also grew up truly, fully believing I was not talented or special in any way. I thought I was a normal kid. So I chose to study business because it didn't require any special talents. And I loved it. And it was very, very interesting. I learned a lot of things. I had a lot of fun during my university years, and I had very big aspirations of conquering the corporate world, becoming I don't know, a manager, an executive in the top international company. not really fully knowing what exactly would my niche be. But and that's the direction that I set myself on, and that's what I tried to do. But actually, when I was about 24, 23, 24, was my first corporate job, I realized that I wasn't happy. This isn't what I expected it to be. Um, and I started feeling the first signs of depression, which I didn't know they were the first signs of depression.
So,
Um,
so depression is something that can happen to all of us.
yes.
And if we dive a little bit into that question, what happened to you? Did you experience? What were these first symptoms?
Mm-hmm.
How was
Yeah.
it for you?
Okay. So I think my first symptoms were, well, not wanting to get up in the morning, not wanting to go to work. Um, Also questioning my self-worth. And I remember almost feeling like, am I crazy or are they crazy to hire me? Like, am I crazy to work here and feel completely misaligned with everything that's going on in this company? Or are they crazy to actually hire me and think that I will fit this job and this culture? And that actually messed with my head quite a lot, because it wasn't a good fit. It's not a bad company. It just didn't fit me. But I thought it should. So it kind of gradually progressed to having panic attacks, to having insomnia, to, yeah, just bad habits, trying to eat my feelings, trying to party my feelings away, just feelings like that. And I realized I need to leave the job, and I did. But again, because I didn't realize I'm starting to become depressed, I chose to try and run away from what's happening with me, and decided to do my master's as a give myself time to figure out what I want to do in life. And that program was amazing, but I couldn't really cut it. My brain was not working how it should be, how it normally does. I couldn't retain information. Uh, I had I had so much anxiety. I couldn't sleep the whole night sometimes before
Mm-hmm.
I had to give a presentation, and that has never been my problem.
Mm-hmm.
I like speaking. I like public speaking. I'm one of those people that actually like it. Um, so, and it kind of like during my master, the year when I was doing my master, it got worse. There would be periods where I wouldn't want to get out of bed. There would be periods where I was afraid to leave the house. Um, and it actually got to the point where I started sort of not very seriously, but thinking about how high the bridges are. I was actually starting to have suicidal thoughts.
Mm.
And this is where I recognized something's very wrong.
Mm.
And I still didn't know I was depressed. Because I didn't have an education about depression.
But if you take the time when you were born and raised in Lithuania in Europe, I mean, I come from Switzerland. It's not exactly the same country either, but there is something similar. There is no culture around mental health. There is no commonly held thought. It's
Mm-hmm.
either you are crazy, meaning like seriously mentally sick, you cannot, I mean, it is visible from outside. That
Yeah.
kind of crazy. If you are that kind of crazy, sure, there are the mental health hospitals that nobody knows anything about.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, dealing with your thoughts, dealing with lack of self belief, unworthiness, and things like that, which is a very known
Mm-hmm.
um, mental health challenges that many people deal with. I wouldn't say everybody, but close to
Yeah.
that, at some point at least.
Yes.
That is nowadays, at least
Mm-hmm.
in United States, accepted and known and respected.
Yeah, and
But
even now
at,
here as well, it's a
okay,
lot more accepted. It's a lot more understood,
hmm it's talked
and
about.
it's talked about, and nobody's asking like, did you experience a trauma? Because when this was happening to me, this was 2008, 2009. My own perception is like, what do I have to be depressed about? I have a family, nobody died. I didn't experience any kind of major trauma. Like, I didn't experience loss. I'm not on the streets. Like, I'm not homeless. What do I have to be depressed about? And I felt incredibly ashamed and guilty for
Mm,
having all of these feelings, because I had nothing to be depressed about. And
hmm
I think that was the biggest thing that kind of kept me locked away in a way, like hiding and ashamed and not talking to my friends. Like, I completely disconnected from all my friends, and I
mm,
know they tried to help me. They
hmm
tried to talk me, they tried to get me out of the house. They said, like, do you need help? And I said, no, it's fine, it's fine, I'll deal with it. And it ended up being pretty bad.
hmm
So yeah, I
So
mean,
that is
now it's
the
fine.
yeah, exactly. So today we talk on uplift, inspiring stories to uplift the world. So we understand that you have set this setting that was pretty good overall, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are dealing suddenly with depression without putting the words on it, so you don't know exactly with what.
Mm-hmm.
You feel all these emotions, and you have these intuitive gifts anyway, and you have that connection with magic anyway. How did you deal with and stop dealing with depression?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How did you uplift yourself?
Yes. So I think my first my first kind of inkling, like the first spark, was this was still deep depression moment. I somehow stumbled upon Neil Donald Walsh's book, Happier Than God. And I read that book, and it kind of gave me hope, but it also like threw me deep into despair, because it made me realize that I had lost my connection to the universe, to the creator, to God. I felt so separate from everything. And I couldn't find that connection. While I was reading the book, kind of lifted me a little bit, even for like just a couple of days while I was reading the book. And I was like, okay, this is my way out. This, now I'm kind of articulating what was happening somewhere in my subconscious mind, but basically that book put me back on the path of my only hobby that I've ever had, that now is my life, is the spiritual development and personal development.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing that I did is, once I started recognizing that I'm having suicidal thoughts, even if they weren't too super serious, I packed, because I was living in the Netherlands at the time. I packed up
Mm-hmm.
my bags, and I went back home to my parents, because I knew I needed that security, the financial security, the physical security. And they didn't know. They didn't know how bad it was for me. They knew that something was off, that I couldn't find a job. I had, like, something was going on, but they didn't know how bad it was. So it was a shock for them. So that was one thing that I did for myself, and I know I am incredibly lucky to have a supportive family, to have someone to go back to, and to to hold that space for me, and to be there for me, and to coax me out of bed every day, and kind of get me living again, even if it's if it's just a bit of decluttering, or some going out and doing some things in the garden, or going out and for a walk in nature. And these were the things that I started doing. I also realized that my only way forward is to find a meaningful life, because that was probably the biggest piece in this whole depression story, is that while I was working in corporate, I felt like what I did meant absolutely nothing to anyone. I could have disappeared the next day and nobody knew, because I wasn't impacting anyone. And I think deep down my soul just wanted to do something impactful and was pushing me to do that. So kind of fast forward, I got better. Well, there's one thing that I have to say. I never went to the medical professionals. I never went to a doctor, to a psychologist or psychiatrist. And probably if I was in the same situation again, I would go, because it probably would help me, because it was a lot to deal with, and it could have been easier, but it was what it was, and I did the way it did. But I started kind of connecting a bit more with myself. And I realized, okay, if I'm going to work in corporate, and I'm going to have to until I figure out what exactly I want to do with my life, I needed to be at least a little bit closer to who I am. So I started working in HR and internal communications. So it was a bit more creative. It was a bit more people related and oriented. And I went back to reading the books that I have been always interested in, the spiritual books, self-development books. And then I decided it's time to do something practical. And I signed up for the very first sort of spiritual seminar that I could find on Facebook at that time. I didn't even know what it was. Like, I didn't care. I was just like, I need to do something before I go completely insane. And in that seminar, this was where I was introduced to Soul Collage. It's a creative technique for self-discovery. And I was looking at the teacher telling us, what this is going to be about. And my soul was just kind of ringing through every pore of my being and yelling at me, this is what I want to do. This is teaching people, standing in front of the audience. And I didn't know this was even a possibility. That's the thing. Like, I didn't know this job existed. So this kicked me into this, like, I was so high on joy, because this was the first time, in that seminar was the first time I experienced meditation. This was the first time I experienced a real tangible physical connection to my soul. Because Soul Collage is exactly what it says in the name. You are collaging parts of who you are onto little pieces of cardboard, and then learning how to talk to them. And I just dove headfirst into it. I spent all my evenings, all my weekends after work, just collaging and journaling from the cards, and having these, it's like you can use them like tarot cards, you can do readings with them. It was a world that opened up to me, and the beauty of it, this world opened up with such ease. I didn't need to learn anything. I knew all of it, and it was all coming back, and that was amazing. So I took about a year to like do a deep dive into the technique. And then I did my facilitators training in Switzerland in 2013, in June, actually. It will be 10 years very, very soon, about 2 weeks. And then I had already left corporate by then. This was one of my best manifestations to date. I had manifested to be let go from my job with a severance package. And that really helped, actually, for me to start on this journey. Yeah, and then I came back from the facilitators training, and then I started on the journey of solopreneur, entrepreneur, and business owner. And I've been on this journey ever since, with lots of ups and downs and bumps and discoveries, and going deeper and deeper and deeper into my intuitive abilities.
That's amazing. And so now what you do is Akashic record readings. Soul
Yes.
Collage, of course, because that was your first love and your first connection with that world. Radical forgiveness. And you speak about your channeling a new modality.
Yes.
Are you anyhow, even a glimpse, able to share with us maybe the process, maybe the feeling, maybe the direction or anything, knowing that 10 years from now, we're going to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, anytime you create new links, new promotion, new anything, let me know. I update so that
I will
10
do
years
that.
from now, people can continue to fall in love with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell us more about that.
Okay,
Channeling a
so
modality.
yeah, so this modality is all about the soul and our connection to the soul. And there are amazing and beautiful techniques and meditations of how you can connect to your soul, speak to your soul, get information from your soul. But a lot of them take you out of your body. What is coming through me, what the spirit and the creator is telling me to do, which freaked me out to to a huge degree when it first started coming through. But the way information is coming through me and the way this technique works, because I'm already using it, and it has produced some amazing results actually. I guide the client or a group of people to connect to their souls within the body. So we have 3 soul gates within the body and 1 soul gate just out of the body. So it's using the chakra system. So it's the sacral chakra, the heart chakra, and the third eye chakra, the 3 gates in the body. And the star chakra, the soul star chakra, that's
The
right.
crown, the
No,
crown
it's
chakra.
right above the crown. It's actually, it's the
Okay.
non-physical chakra that
Yes.
is just above the ground, which is probably kind of like the purest soul energy you feel, because it's not in the physical body. And there are the 3 gates, the way soul energy is flowing through them, it has a slightly different purpose. So for different things, we're using a different gate. And this is the details that I'm still kind of exploring and learning and getting information about. But what it can do is, first, our soul is our deepest, dearest friend. You know, it's here with you through hard and through joyful times. Especially through hard times, your soul wants you to succeed, your soul wants you to be happy, your soul wants you to be wealthy, your soul wants you to have love. Yes, the soul has a plan for a life. It has a, you know, kind of a list of life experiences it wants you to go through, and a list of lessons it wants you to take from those experiences. But it doesn't mean that your soul wants you to hurt. It doesn't want you to go through pain. It doesn't want you to suffer. That's not how our souls are. They're just loving beings. We are loving beings. We're made of love. So first of all, that connection, it brings enormous power back to us, because it's like the feeling, the way somebody described a feeling, it's this quiet power. It's not this like roar, kind of like I'm going to like beat something up or kill something, or like, which is, that's a type of power we have as well, and sometimes it's needed. But the soul power is very grounded, especially when you go in the body, when you don't leave the body to connect to the soul. It's very grounding, it's very loving. And it gives you clarity, enormous clarity, to what is the truth, what are just conditioning, false beliefs, harmful patterns. And also we can direct the energy of the soul, like the healing, powerful light of the soul, to work through the body to dissolve those blocks. Sometimes I need to bring in the creator's energy because sometimes it's bigger than the soul can do. But it's at this moment, I have to say the possibilities are endless with this technique. And I'm seeing very quick results. Very, very quick results.
That's amazing. It's really amazing. I can totally imagine that. Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing. That
Oh,
is
it's my
so
absolute pleasure.
powerful.
Yes.
That is so powerful. And when or how did you discover Akashic Records reading? Because that is another part, a soul of the soul journey
Yes.
as well. So how did you come to Akashic Record readings?
Well, I was in a coaching program. It was 2018. I was in a coaching program, and my coach posted in our group and said, I need 4 or 5 volunteers who would like to have their Akashic Records reading done because I'm studying it. And I volunteered, and I was one of the people that she gave a reading to. And it just opened my mind, and my brain exploded and my heart exploded, because what she was telling me wasn't new, but she gave the words. She gave me the words to name things that I was feeling inside about myself. And a lot of them, because it's Akashic, the way I do it, there are many different ways Akashic, how to do Akashic Records reading. But actually, after she'd done it, I realized I want to learn too. So I asked where she did it, and I went and did the same program. So it just gives so much very powerful information about your soul's journey, kind of like the first incarnation, which star system your soul's coming from, about your life lessons, about your gifts and talents, about training, your soul's training in between lifetimes, which is super cool. I love all of this very kind of woo-woo things, because they can be brain candy, and people can get stuck in the, I was Cleopatra in a past life. Great, good for you. But in this lifetime, you still need to live this life. So, but it gives so much valuable information about what your soul wants you to do. It doesn't tell you, I want you to be an engineer. Like, that's not the language of the soul. A lot of the times my job comes in as an intuitive coach and a healer and a business intuitive, because that's another element of I think my modality, is that I can help business owners to connect to the soul of their business.
Yes. Oh wow, that's a good one. Yeah,
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Because when we create a business, we birth a being that we have to be also part of that being by creating all those rules and regulation and processes and things like that, and work for its idea. And interesting to start to consider, the soul of the company. Wow. Is it intimately related to the soul of the founder, or not necessarily?
Yes, it's very, because there is no company without the founder. I mean, businesses have souls, but the souls are different to, let's say, human beings. Because for a human being, the soul is kind of like, it's a gift from the creator. It's a little spark of the creator itself. For businesses, we initially spark the soul of the business, but it's not just us. We also have the universal energy, the creator's energy in the business, and then we also have our clients and our partners and our employees. So it's kind of like it's a very collective creation, but it can still be seen and talked to and connected with as a soul.
Beautiful. That just works.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So when people want to connect with you, yes, we are going indeed to update that. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram page for you. Do you have a website or not yet?
I am in the process of creating a website. So I will, the moment I have it, I will send it to you, and people can find me there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm actually
So,
really happy to share a process, a meditation from my new
oh wow.
modality for as a gift.
Let's do that. Okay. Okay, let's do that.
Okay, I will send you the link so you can add it.
Okay, awesome. That's beautiful. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, so Agne Veckyte, we're going to spell out your name because some people are just listening and do not read. Agne, Agne, Veckyte, Veckyte.
Yes, thank
So
you.
that we know exactly where to, what letters to put to find her.
Yes.
Alrighty. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for uplifting the world with your story. Thank you for being you. And we really look forward to continuing this conversation and to continue to uplift the world together one way or another.
Thank you so much for having me here, and for giving me this beautiful opportunity to share my story and to share about my modality. I, I just want to send a big hug to everyone who's
Oh,
listening. And
thank you.
especially if you're going through a hard time right now, you don't need a special modality to connect with your soul. Your soul is always listening. So maybe just have a chat, ask for help, and your soul will find a way to send help into your life.
That's beautiful. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.